Hi, I'm Tyler Keefe, host of the Michigan Megacast, Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to noon. Join me as I talk about Michigan's top news stories with experts and leaders from across the state, covering everything including businesses, events, hot topics, and yes, even politics. Watch on our smart TV and smartphone apps and on the web on mymytv.com. It's the Michigan Megacast, weekdays 11 a.m. to noon right here on My.
My Michigan TV, My. This is My Michigan TV, a unique news streaming television network. To watch simply at our app to your smartphone or smart TV. You can also watch online at mymytv.com. My Michigan TV, My.
Get ready for The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's dedicated update show. Events, businesses, and people. Anything and anyone causing a ripple in the community. And now, let's dive in to The Splash Live.
Good morning and welcome to The Splash Live. I am Larry Nowlin. Thanks to everyone from West Bloomfield, Kego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and Orchard Lake for tuning in on this wonderful Friday morning. The Splash Live is Greater West Bloomfield's very own daily TV and radio streaming show. Watch us live Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 10 a.m. on Civic Center TV. Catch us on Comcast Channel 15, AT&T Channel 99, on the web at civiccentertv.com, on Civic Center TV's Facebook app, and you can even listen live on 89.3 Lakes FM. Splash Live is part of Civic Center TV and Lake FM's 90 minutes of live local programming. Taking a look at the weather today, it's going to be another beautiful fall day on tap with mostly sunny skies and a high of about 65. Tonight's clouds will be rolling in with a low of around 51. And looking ahead to Saturday, mostly cloudy skies with a high of 67. And then to close out the weekend on Sunday, mostly sunny again and a high of about 62. Well, looking at some headlines locally, if you were trying to reach the West Bloomfield Public Library, either in person, by phone, or online, but to no avail the past couple of days, it's because a repair team found several problems with the library's generators. DTE was slated to install a new power line outside the library. And good news, as I spoke with West Bloomfield Township Library Director Kathy Russ shortly after 6 p.m. Thursday, and she informed me that DTE has restored power to the Civic Center campus, and the main library and the West Acres branch will be open regular hours today, Friday, September 30th. Looking ahead at the big fire department open house that is kicking off fire prevention this week, and they will be holding their annual open house at Fire Station 1 on Orchard Lake Road. Our own Calvin Brown created a promo premiering the event. Let's take a look.
Fire Prevention Week is just around the corner. Join volunteer, part-time, and on-call firefighters at this year's Fire Open House. Catch up on your fire safety knowledge with live demonstrations and hands-on activities. Chat with local businesses and resources about fire prevention, see some familiar faces, fight future fires, and make some new friends. The West Bloomfield Fire Open House, October 2nd from noon to 3 p.m. at Fire Station 1 on Orchard Lake Road.
Again, that's coming up this Sunday from 12 to 3 p.m. at Fire Station 1 in West Bloomfield. And if you can't be at the event, tune in as we bring you all the festivities right here on Civic Center TV, led by our own Tyler Keefe, the man with the voice. Well, it was a tough game last week for the West Bloomfield Lakers football team as they were defeated by Rochester Adams 35-18. Our own Tyler Keefe had the chance to talk with Lakers head coach Tyrese Grice and asked the coach about the advantage of having back-to-back home games on tap after that tough loss last week at Rochester Adams.
Well, it's always good to play at home, get back in front of our fans. Our players play better when we play at home. The whole atmosphere is different. How we prepare is different. Just making sure that throughout the day, we get our minds right. When you're on the road, sometimes that can be a little distraction. But now that we're home for the next 2 days, and this homecoming for us, we're excited about playing this next home game to redeem ourselves from the loss we had last week.
Quite a lot of recent and really interesting history with this Lake Orion team. A couple years ago, of course, it was that overtime game that went into 2 different days, Saturday game for half of it, and a Friday game for part of it as well. And then even the years before that, really competitive games with Lake Orion. Now under a different coaching staff, their old coach, their athletic director, Chris Bell, back at the helm. What do you know about this Lake Orion team? What should we know going into this Friday game?
Well, I've been here 11 years. We played them every year. I remember Coach Bell and his team and how they do things. They're a great coach, great program. They always come competitive when we play those guys. And it's always a game that's going to be whoever bring their best shot, usually the teams that's winning. So Coach Bell is a great guy. He does a good job with the program over there. I've been known him for a few years now, and we're looking forward to playing these guys.
Chris Bell, a championship winner at Lake Orion in his first tenure as their head coach before becoming the athletic director. Now he steps back into that role after the exit of John Blackstock, their former head coach. And Coach, what about this team schematically, or from the way that they played the game, is significant in what you're focusing on for this week as something for your guys to be looking out for and preparing for? Because every team's going to bring a different wrinkle in the OAA red.
Yeah, you got to go back and look at the history of this team and see what they did in the past. And although the new coach is back, I went back and looked at some of the things they did 10 years ago when he was head coach, and you can see similarities this year. So it's just a matter of this is a team that runs multiple offenses. So you just got to be prepared for that and making sure that we have guys properly line up right and make sure that that we recognize the formations and making sure we do those little things right. But right now we just got to focus on our kicking game. That was an area that we need to improve on. So going into this game, hopefully our kicking game will be much improved from the last few weeks. And Lake Orion is one of the teams that's going to always bring their A game against us, and there's always a competitive game. The last few games have been close, and it's not like someone scored 30 points against them, but it was always a touchdown to whoever had the ball last, usually the team that won. So we're going to go in this game, and just come better prepared than we were last week, and just get to know this offense and their defense and try to do our best to execute our game plan.
Let's go through the next couple of weeks of OAA red play, then finish up your OAA season, come to the end of the season against on a couple of really tough teams that are playing competitive ball at a high level. How important are these next few weeks in really getting your team prepared for the throes of playoff competition while also focusing on getting your W's every single week?
Well, you don't want to look too far ahead. Again, our next game is against Lake Orion. Our whole focus got to be on them. Not saying we're not looking ahead in terms of future games. Our goal is to win the OAA red. Even though we had this loss against Adams, it's still out there for us. Anyone can win it. But we're just gonna get ready for this Lake Orion game and really get prepared and try to win on this homecoming.
And hopefully we can look forward to a bounce-back effort this Friday as the Lakers come home to the Swamp to take on Lake Orion Dragons. Again, that is tonight. As always, tune into the live game on Civic Center TV and WBTV. If you don't have time to sit down and watch it, listen on the go at 89.3 Lakes FM. We're going to take a quick break here on the Splash Live. And when we get back, I'll be talking with West Bloomfield Township Supervisor Steve Kaplan. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Let's whoop it up for these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Fire Prevention Week is just around the corner. Join volunteer, part-time, and on-call firefighters at this year's Fire Open House. Catch up on your fire safety knowledge with live demonstrations and hands-on activities. Chat with local businesses and resources about fire prevention, see some familiar faces, fight future fires, and make some new friends. The West Bloomfield Fire Open House, October 2nd from noon to 3 p.m. at Fire Station 1 on Orchard Lake Road. And now, back to the Splash Live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live. I am Larry Nyland. Well, like many communities in Oakland County, West Bloomfield has seen a big increase in the number of deer roaming within the township borders. While some residents might enjoy feeding the deer and admiring their beauty, the abundance of deer also leads to more auto accidents, damage to landscaping and property, and more risk of Lyme disease. What can be done to make our community safer from the influx of deer? Joining us now to talk all about it is our good friend, West Bloomfield Township Supervisor Steve Kaplan. Steve, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Larry. Good to see you as always.
So can you start off by talking about some of the issues that you've been made aware of over the years at Town Hall from the number of deer that we seem to have here in West Bloomfield?
Number of deer in the neighborhoods is proliferating. Last year, related to it, of course, we had 120 collisions between motor vehicles and deer. And in 2022, we've had 96 as of today. So number of deer has increased in the neighborhoods, and that means they're stomping on gardens, eating vegetables, making a mess of people's backyards and gardens.
And Steve, I know you know that there's a lot of people in the community who they enjoy feeding the deer, but it could lead to more problems. I mean, it could lead to them making that their home, and then they reproduce, and then we have more deer causing other issues.
Larry, excellent point on your part. Deer, remember, let's say Larry lives in West Bloomfield. He leaves strips of food for the deer, and they enjoy the morsels that you left behind. And the next day, they'll revisit you because they'll remember the food source.
Yeah, I have a neighbor who will feed the deer, but it brings other animals. So once the deer are done for the night, then you'll see like a beaver come by, you'll see raccoons come by, and it leads to other problems. It just does.
Larry, we have considered enacting an ordinance which would which would discourage people from feeding the deer. Several problems with it. Number one, do we really want to criminalize our residents when in good faith they're feeding the deer? Secondly, it's essentially unenforceable. How are we going to catch the violators? Are we going to have undercover officers hiding near the food source in order to apprehend the resident? I know a few communities, including Rochester Hills, do have such an ordinance, but I don't think the township board is interested in criminalizing that behavior.
So can you talk about what exactly is the Oakland County Community Deer Coalition, which I think was formed back in 2021?
Right. And to give credit to Oakland County, Farmington Hills, and Oakland County and Farmington Hills for spearheading this coalition. We joined the coalition immediately. We enacted a proclamation indicating that we do want to participate, and we have been. We've already had 8 meetings. They say not much is accomplished at a meeting, that a camel is a horse created by a committee, but we have had good discussions on this. And ultimately there are 5 possibilities apart from doing nothing in terms of reducing the deer population. One of them is to kill the deer. That's obvious. Second one is to have police officers visiting the backyards of people and shooting the deer. That really isn't practical. Ann Arbor has a procedure. It's called culling the deer, C-U-L-L, culling the deer, and that's where they lasso, they capture deer and they transport them to a park, which is isolated, and then they shoot the deer. I don't know if our residents want that to occur. Another possibility that's being viewed is sterilization or contraceptives, where food is laced with contraceptives, and that would help reduce the deer population.
And so one of the ways where they're trying to figure out what might be the best solution to this is the regional deer survey that they formulated. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. And that survey is available on West Bloomfield's website. And through November 11, any resident can complete the survey. And it would be helpful to us to determine, does the average resident or do a majority of residents want deer population to be reduced? Because there are people, Larry, who love seeing the deer. My wife, for one, she'll call me to the dining room window, say, look outside, look outside. There are 4 deer in our backyard. So she really enjoys the nature. And therefore, this is not a unanimous issue. I'd say it's probably split. I'd say many residents don't have an opinion because they have more important matters to deal with, although this is very important. And then some love the deer and don't want to reduce the deer population, and others think that we're overpopulated.
Yeah, I remember a couple years ago when they built the new roundabout at Middlebelt and Maple, there was a huge percentage of the population that came to the meetings discussing when that was going to be built, that it was going to affect the deer population in the area because so many deer crossed over at that location.
Right. Another good point by you in terms of why are deer increasing. Well, one is that the township is now 95% built. It's developed. And that means when a development goes into an area which at one time was undeveloped, obviously, then the deer are chased out, so to speak, and they then proliferate in the neighborhoods.
So I had the chance to print out the survey yesterday. It's really not that long. It only has about 7 questions on it. I mean, it basically asks if how the deer have affected your life. Do you think it's gotten worse over the years? And if it has affected your home, do you think there's a monetary figure that you can put on it? So it's things that if people are interested in getting control of the situation, it's a real easy survey to fill out.
Yes, and one gentleman sent a letter to the supervisor's office, and 3-page letter, very well written. Obviously, he has a scientific background, but he posed some suggestions, ideas for us. So you never know. It could be just one resident has an idea that the regional coalition would find palatable. And it could be that ideas from residents could lead to reducing the population of deer.
I think you mentioned that like some communities, I know they did this in Rochester a couple years ago, where they kind of had like an evening where they were at a field where some of these deer gathered, and there was like kind of a mass shooting of these deer, and it kind of set some neighbors, into a bit of a frenzy, wondering what was going on. Is that something that you think is a possibility down the road in West Bloomfield, or you're trying to avoid something like that?
Extremely unlikely. For one, our ordinances ban outdoor hunting, even bow and arrow. Well, a person would be violating the ordinance if he did that. And there is a danger to it. I'm sure there are some people who are marksmen, but not everybody has that skill. And an errant shot could enter a home and kill or injure somebody visiting or living in that home. Well, there's a great risk in terms of self-action.
So if people do want to fill out this survey, and I'm sure we encourage everyone to do it, whether they're favor of the deer or they want to limit the number of deer in town, how can they find that survey?
Yes. So go to the West Bloomfield website. Just at Google search engine if you want, West Bloomfield Township, Michigan website, and then they'll find the link. It should be easy to find. It's also available through Oakland County's website.
Yeah, and it says on here, November 11th is the deadline to fill that out. So you do still have about a month and a half to get that done.
Yes, November 11th, interesting date in history when World War I ended.
Oh, did it really?
11th. Yeah, 1918, November 11th.
So I want to bring up one other thing with you, Steve. Every fall, we have the hazardous waste disposal event. It's coming up in a few weeks on Saturday, October 22nd. Could you just tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. The township features 4 events for our residents, and this includes Keego Harbor, Orchard Lake, and Sylvan Lake. We host 2 household hazardous waste days per year, one in May and one in October. We've already had the one in May, obviously, but October 21, Friday, between 4 and 6 for senior citizens, 62 and older. So Larry, you're about 40 years away from that status. Or Saturday, October 22nd, 9 to noon for anyone. And we've had great success. One year we had 1,900 vehicles between the 2 events. Shredding is not offered during the HHW event, Larry. We have 2 separate shredding events. We just had one last weekend. We found that by separating shredding from disposal of hazardous waste moves the line along. The wait is not as long. At one time we had cars that waited 2 hours, or motors that waited 2 hours from entering the Civic Center complex. By way of offering the Friday event for seniors and segregating shredding from household hazardous waste day, residents don't have to wait as long. It could be as short as a 20-minute wait.
So my question to you, Steve, is, so I dropped some stuff off there about a year ago, and I was so happy to get that out of my garage. But then I thought, Well, where do you guys? What do you guys do with it? Where do you take it? It's on the property of the town hall there. But then what happens after that?
Good question. Shredding occurs on campus. We find that our residents want to be assured that the shredding is not papers, documents are not taken to a dumpster. That's an easy issue. And they have the trucks, meaning USA Environmental. They have trucks they shred on the premises. But what you're mentioning, yes, we don't dispose of it in a landfill. We have a reputable company, USA Environmental, out of Livonia, and they're serious about it. They do good work, and they probably wouldn't last in this industry if they were disposing of household hazardous waste in landfills or other sites.
All right, Steve. Well, we want to thank you for joining us today. Wish you a fabulous weekend, and thank you and all your staff there at Town Hall for doing a great job for the citizens of West Bloomfield.
Thanks, Larry. Thank you for inviting me.
That is Steve Kaplan, West Bloomfield Township Supervisor. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll check in with the current president of the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce, Vito. That's next year on The Splash Live.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
And now, back to The Splash Live.
Live. I am Larry Nyland. Well, even though the economy is in a bit of a downturn, it doesn't mean your business can't still prosper. Always helping local businesses be all they can be is the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce. Joining us now is their current president from Consult Vito, Vito Kukuru. Vito, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
So, Vito, could you start off by telling us a little bit about your background and Consult Vito and tell us exactly what you guys do there at Consult Vito?
Sure. For a long time, I worked at a lot of different ad agencies and for clients in a variety of marketing roles, everything from digital marketing, buying, Google ads, Facebook ads, to branding, to lead generation. And I just started to go off on my own and form Consult Vito. And now I do it for a living for small to medium-sized businesses and just kind of help them with their marketing, their public relations. And sometimes I act as an outsourced marketing department. Sometimes I'm working on a project to project, but I really enjoy the field and I love helping people with their businesses.
So when people do come to you seeking out your services, what seem to be some of the biggest problems with the way people promote their businesses? Like, what do people seem to struggle with most?
Yeah, the number one problem, especially during the economy that we have and the economy that we've been experiencing, is budget, budget, budget. And where do I spend and how do I go about that? And one of the key things I always try to remind people, if you're going to Google Ads, Facebook, it doesn't matter, Twitter, the number one thing to remember is these are algorithms. These are set up specifically to spend the money you tell them to spend. So don't be surprised if you ask for $10 a day and 30 days later, $300 is spent. And it's really managing that budget and looking at the data and the analytics behind it to make sure it's working. And what people don't realize is you can go in there every single day and you can look at how your ads are performing. And that goes down to that return on investment as everybody watches every single penny. So you got to make sure that your budget is exactly what you believe it should be because it's going to be spent. And then looking at it to see how it performs. And those seem to be the two places people struggle with the most. And I'm getting the most questions the last year and a half, especially the last 4 months, as the economy sort of makes businesses question whether they should advertise or not.
So I mentioned at the top that you're the current president of the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce. How can the chamber help out its members for situations like where they might be a business might be struggling and they can't quite figure out how, like, why I'm not being more successful? What can you guys do to help those businesses?
Yeah, it's a great question. We have a very excitable and interesting board, and every member of the board is committed to helping every business in the chamber with those struggles. So we have a law firm on the board, we have a business coach on the board, we have myself on the board, and we're all committed to giving every single business our time and our experience at no charge. So everybody on the board sits back and we take calls and we help businesses. And we have Suzanne Levine, who's the best executive director in chamber history. What she does is she connects businesses and makes sure that they're talking to each other and really helps get the word out about each business, not only from a networking capacity, from a publicity capacity as well. So we have 2 to 4 business events a month. I host 2 marketing webinars a month. The chamber has numerous networking events a month. And what we're trying to do is connect our experts on the board with the businesses to give them free business coaching and free business advice. And we do that on a regular basis. I'll be doing it on Monday with the business, actually, and I did it earlier this week. It's about giving back and making sure that we use our expertise on the board to help businesses in the greater West Bloomfield area.
So I know the Chamber is a Grow with Google partner. Can you tell us what Grow with Google is and how that partnership has led you to create some of these online webinars that are open to actually anyone in the community?
Yeah, Grow with Google is an exciting program that Google has started for nonprofits and for chambers and for businesses who want to educate the community. So there's a lot of libraries in the program, there's a lot of chambers, and what we do with that information is we take all of this Google information and I put it together in a webinar twice a month. I also do email marketing webinars, and some of the topics that we cover in the Grow with Google series can be anything from design thinking, making your website work for you. We do everything from how to understand and learn Google Ads, get your business online with the Google profile. So it's a prestigious partnership that we have, that we always give the information out as much as we can. It could be anything from working remotely. It's basically taking your business or your personal self. It's how to increase your personal brand and how to get more recognition for yourself, and taking that information and allowing people to promote themselves, their businesses, and help their businesses in the marketing capacities. It's a great program. We've been with it for a few years, and we're actually considered a gold partner with them this year.
And for those out there who are interested in checking in on those webinars, how can they find those?
Sure, we have them on the website. We post them this month. Is going to be October 11th and October 25th. We're going to do Constant Contact, get more opens with great subject lines. It's going to be an email focused one. And then October 25th, we're doing a Grow with Google one called Learn the Basics of Google Ads. It's going to be a primer if you know nothing about Google Ads. This is going to give you insight. If you know a lot about Google Ads, it's going to sharpen your skills and make sure you know exactly the tips and tricks that Google is telling you that you should use. So all the content will be from Constant Contact, all the content will be from Google. And we just present that information and help the greater community.
So Vito, I had the chance a couple weeks ago to go to the leadership breakfast over at the Wabi Country Club. It was a great event there. Do you have any other chamber events coming up that you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, we have on a couple of Fridays of the month, we have the Connect with Cup of Connections, and that's a networking event. We have 2 marketing webinars a month. We have all these events on our website. We're going to have Evan Rope, who's going to come in and talk about personal development and growth. He's a coach. We have a women's group. We have women's events there. Everything's on the website. We have, like I said, about 4, sometimes 6 events a month. We have a women's group, a business innovation generator group. We have a marketing series. We have numerous connection/networking events, and they all sit there on the chamber website waiting for people to come. We have great turnout. It's a great opportunity to meet your local business owners and to meet people who can help you do your business.
And for those who are interested in the services that you provide at Consult Vito, how can they get in touch with you?
Sure. My website, consultvito.com. That's consultvito.com. And I'm also on the chamber website. And, we do everything from public relations to lead generation to branding and everything in between. Love to hear from people. And through the chamber, I offer, an hour or 2 discovery session, no charge. Just talk about your marketing. Talk about some of the things you may not be doing that are free services, that some free software, and just try and get everyone on track, especially during now, because we're coming up on the holidays and a lot of business are crammed and crunched thinking about what they can do for the last quarter.
Well, Vito, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
That's Vito Kukuru from Consult Vito, founder and owner, and the current president of the West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce. That's going to do it for this week here on The Splash. I am Larry Nyland in West Bloomfield. We will see you next week.